Let's talk about something that can sound a little, I don't know, corporate or maybe even intimidating metrics. But what if we thought about that differently? Just for a minute, forget the spreadsheets and the performance reviews. Let's think of metrics as something way more personal, like a private compass that you build, just for you, to help you find your way through your own work.
So, to build that compass, we really have to start with a question. Or maybe it's more of a feeling, you know? A feeling I'm pretty sure we've all had at some point.
You know that feeling. You're putting in the hours on a coding project or a big final paper. You're focused, the keyboard is clicking away, but there's that little nagging voice in the back of your head going, is this actually any good? Am I moving forward or am I just moving? It's such a common feeling, and it's the perfect place for us to start this conversation. So when you're feeling that way, a little lost in the woods of a project, how do you get your bearings? Well, this is where that whole idea of a personal compass really comes into its own. The word measurement, it just comes with a lot of baggage, doesn't it? We think about being graded or ranked or judged. But what if we just took that power back? What if measurement was simply a way for you to get a clear picture of your own process? To find little insights that nobody else ever has to see? They're just for you. And this brings us to a really empowering idea: private metrics. Think of these as little bits of data that are collected by you and for you. This is not about proving anything to anyone. It's about creating a quiet, personal feedback loop for yourself, one that helps you understand where your time is going, maybe where you're struggling, and, hey, where you're actually doing great. Okay, so if we're going to start building this compass, it helps to know that there are really two main directions we can measure. So let's look at this first key distinction: process versus product. First up, we've got process metrics. The easiest way to think about this is looking at your journey. It has nothing to do with the final thing you made, but all the steps you took to get there. You know, how you manage your time, the effort you're putting in, the things you're actually doing. That's the process. For example, a super simple process metric could be just tracking the actual time it takes you to write one solid page of that research paper. We're not talking about the quality of the page, not yet. We're just talking about the effort that went into it. So the other side of the coin is the product metric. This is where you look at the destination, the thing you've actually built. It's a measure of the thing itself, whether that's a chunk of code, a design, or that essay page we were just talking about. So to keep our analogy going, a product metric would be scanning that finished page and just counting the number of typos. See the difference? You're not measuring the time it took anymore. You're measuring a quality of the final product. So that's the crucial point right there. It's this simple split. Process is the journey, product is the destination. Process is how you build it, product is what you built. Just understanding that one difference is the first huge step to figuring out which metrics might actually be useful for you. Let's just pause on that for a second. Notice how neither of those examples, tracking your time or counting your typos, is about getting a better grade. It's about learning. It's for that quiet moment of realization where you go, that page took way longer than I thought. Or, I see now that I tend to make these little mistakes when I'm tired. That's the insight. That's the compass, pointing you toward a better way of working for yourself. Okay, let's get really practical with this and see how it can become a genuinely useful tool.
I mean, we all know this in our bones, right? Finding a typo right after you've written a sentence is just a quick little backspace, no big deal. But finding it after you've already submitted the paper, that is way, way more stressful. And it's exactly the same in code. A bug you catch early is a tiny fix. A bug that makes it all the way to the end can be a massive headache.
So how can we get better at catching these things early? Well, there's a metric for this, but don't let the fancy name scare you. It's called defect removal efficiency, or DRE. But really, what it is just a private way to see how good you're getting at being your own best editor.
And here's how simple it is. As you're working on something, just keep a casual count of the mistakes you catch and fix yourself. Then, down the line, if someone else reviews your work or tests it, just take a note of how many errors they find. If you're finding most of them yourself, then your DRE is high, and that's awesome. It just means you're getting incredibly good at your own quality control before it ever becomes a real problem.
And this is the whole point, right here. It's not a score. It's not a competition. It is simply a way to be kind to your future self. You're saving that person a whole lot of stress and extra work down the road. Let's pause on that feeling one more time. When you look at it this way, the pressure just kind of melts away, doesn't it? It stops feeling like judgment, and it just starts to feel like a skill you can practice. Like learning an instrument. It's just a simple tool for your own growth. So if any of this sounds kind of interesting, you might be asking, okay, how do I actually start? The key is to not overthink it. Keep it gentle. You really don't need some complex system. On your very next assignment, just pick one tiny thing to notice. Maybe keep a little text file open and just make a tally mark every time you spot and fix your own bug. Or you could just start a stopwatch when you begin one specific task and stop it when you're done. That's it. Keep it simple. And that's really the heart of it all. There's this great quote from Albert Hubbard that says, "The best preparation for good work tomorrow is to do good work today." These small, private measurements aren't about judging yesterday's work. They're about gently improving today's process so that tomorrow's work can be just a little bit clearer, a little bit smoother, and a little less stressful. It's all about finding your own way forward. Thanks for exploring this with me.